Imagine this. You're driving home after a long, exhausting day. You're stuck in traffic. The sky is darkening, and raindrops are beginning to patter against your windshield. You're thinking about the bills that are due, the health scare that's looming, or the relationship that's fraying at the edges. You silently ask God, why me? Why now? It's a feeling that hits close to home, doesn't it? It's in these raw, vulnerable moments that we start to question everything. But what if I told you that there's a reason for these trials? What if these hardships are not random, but are part of a divine design to shape you, strengthen you, and fulfill a greater purpose in your life? Today, we're going to uncover the 10 powerful reasons why God's chosen ones go through so much. These reasons will not only provide answers, but also offer you a new perspective, one that fills you with hope and strength. Think about the moments in your life when you faced significant challenges. Maybe it was the loss of a job, a serious illness, or a heartbreaking relationship. Each of these trials has the potential to break us or to build us into something more resilient and refined. Have you ever noticed how, after the storm passes, you find yourself standing stronger, with a deeper faith and a clearer sense of purpose? That's not by accident, it's by divine design. Let's delve into this together. Picture yourself as a piece of clay in the hands of a master potter. Each squeeze, each turn of the wheel is crafting you into something uniquely beautiful and strong. God is using these trials to mold you, to prepare you for greater things ahead. Every hardship you face is a step in this transformative process. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of why you're facing these challenges and how they are meant to elevate you, not defeat you. You'll discover the incredible strength and purpose that lies within you as one of God's chosen ones. This journey might just transform the way you see your trials and tribulations, turning them from burdens into blessings. Let's uncover them now. The first reason why God's chosen ones go through so much is to build their faith. Faith isn't just about believing in God when things are going well. It's about trusting Him even in the darkest hours. Think about it like this. Faith is like a muscle. Without exercise, it remains weak, but when it's tested, it grows stronger. In the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2-4, we're reminded, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." This passage isn't just telling us that trials will come. It's telling us to embrace them with joy because they are tools God uses to perfect our faith. Now, let's talk about Tom. Tom was a man who seemingly had it all together. Then, one day, out of the blue, he lost his job, a job he'd had for over 20 years. Over the following months, Tom struggled. He battled doubt, fear, and even questioned God's plan for his life. But instead of turning away from his faith, Tom turned towards it. He spent more time in prayer, more time in study, and more time in genuine fellowship. And through this process, something remarkable happened. Tom's situation didn't change overnight, but his faith deepened. He began to see God's hand in even the smallest opportunities, and his trust in God's provision became unshakable. Like Tom, when we face trials, we're given a choice. We can let these challenges weaken our faith, or we can let them strengthen it. It's in these moments, when everything else seems to be falling apart, that our true faith is not just revealed, but also deepened. Our hardships become the very experiences that compel us to cling more tightly to God. So, as we navigate our own trials, let's remember Tom's story. Let's remember that every challenge is an opportunity to trust God a little more, to let our faith not just survive, but thrive. These trials aren't signs of God's absence, but rather they are profound affirmations of His presence, teaching us to rely not on our understanding, but on His. Our second insight into why God's chosen ones endure so much is rooted in a powerful purpose: to display His glory. When we face situations that seem beyond our control, it's not just our resilience that's on display, but the overwhelming power and glory of God that shines through our circumstances. Consider the story of the blind man in the Gospel of John, chapter 9. His blindness wasn't a result of sin or failure. It was so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As Jesus healed him, not only was his sight restored, but so too was the faith of many who witnessed this miracle. This man's lifelong struggle became the canvas upon which Jesus painted a masterpiece of grace and power, demonstrating to all that God's works are perfect and His timing impeccable. But let's bring this closer to home with a story about Sarah, a woman in our community. Sarah battled a chronic illness for many years. It was a struggle that left her and her family wondering why. Yet, through her journey, Sarah's steadfast faith and unyielding spirit became a beacon of hope and strength to others. Her endurance and trust in God amidst pain were profound. When she shared her story, whether in church gatherings or online platforms, people were moved not just by her resilience, but by how vividly God's strength was showcased in her weakness. Her life echoed the Apostle Paul's words in 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. This is how God uses our trials. He turns our personal battles into public testimonies. Each trial we face is an opportunity for God's glory to be revealed through us. It's not merely about the hardships themselves, but about how the light of God's love shines brighter against the backdrop of our struggles. So, whenever you find yourself in the midst of a storm, remember this: you are a vessel of His glory. The more challenging the struggle, the greater the opportunity for His glory to be revealed. Just as a lighthouse shines brightest in the darkest storms, so can God's glory shine through our lives when we trust in Him through our trials. The third profound reason why God's chosen ones face hardships is to shape their character. Character isn't crafted in moments of comfort, but forged in the fires of trials. Through these challenges, we are molded into individuals who not only reflect our faith, but also embody the virtues that God values. Consider the process of refining gold. The ore must endure intense heat to purify it, melting away all impurities. Similarly, our spiritual character is purified through the heat of our trials. This metaphor is vividly illustrated in the life of Peter, one of Jesus' apostles. Initially impulsive and quick to react, Peter's journey through various trials, from denying Christ to ultimately leading the early church, shaped him into a pillar of faith and resilience. His transformation showcases how trials serve to refine our attributes and align them more closely with God's will. Let's also take a moment to reflect on the story of Maria, a dedicated community volunteer. Maria was known for her quick temper, which often undermined her good intentions. However, during a particularly challenging community project that was fraught with setbacks, Maria learned the value of patience and humility. As she navigated these challenges, those around her noticed a significant change. Maria's character was being shaped right before their eyes. She was becoming more thoughtful, patient, and understanding, traits that greatly enhanced her effectiveness and influence in the community. This process of character shaping is not just about correcting flaws, but about enhancing strengths. It teaches us resilience, patience, humility, and a host of other virtues that are essential for a life of faith and service. These trials are not random. They are tailor-made challenges that prepare us for future tasks and greater responsibilities. So, as you face your own trials, consider them as opportunities for personal growth. Think of each difficulty as a chisel that God uses to sculpt your character into a masterpiece designed for His purpose. Remember, the tougher the challenge, the greater the potential for growth. It's through this divine sculpting that we emerge not only stronger, but more aligned with the character God intends for us. Navigating through life's storms teaches us an invaluable lesson: the art of dependence on God. This is the fourth reason why God's chosen ones go through so much. It's about learning to lean not on our own understanding, but fully on God's wisdom and strength. Imagine being on a ship in the middle of a turbulent sea. The waves are crashing, the wind is howling, and it seems as though you might capsize at any moment. In life, like in this storm, our natural inclination might be to take control, to navigate our way through using our own skills. However, it's often in our deepest despair, when our skills seem inadequate, that we truly learn to hand the helm over to God, trusting Him to guide us to safety. David, the shepherd-turned-king, exemplified this in the Psalms. Time and again, he faced overwhelming odds, giant warriors, vast armies, even his own son's betrayal. Yet, his Psalms resonate with a theme of profound reliance on God. In Psalm 62:6, he writes, "He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken." David's trials taught him that his victories came not from his prowess in battle, but from his dependence on God's power. Let's reflect on the story of Eleanor, a single mother of 3 who faced the sudden loss of her job. The fear of how she would provide for her children was paralyzing. Yet, it was in this low point that Eleanor learned to truly depend on God. She prayed, she sought wise counsel, and she waited on God's timing. Miraculously, opportunities began to open up not just for a new job, but also for a supportive community that emerged to help her through this tough time. Eleanor's ordeal taught her to trust in God's provision and timing, lessons she now shares with others to strengthen their faith. This lesson of dependence is not about inaction. Rather, it's about active trust. It's about making decisions and taking steps while constantly seeking God's guidance through prayer, through His Word, and through the counsel of fellow believers. As we learn to depend more on God, we find that not only are our burdens shared, but our paths are made clearer. The storms we face are no longer navigational nightmares, but opportunities to witness God's navigational prowess. This dependence brings peace and assurance that, no matter the turbulence, we are never alone in our journey. The fifth reason why God's chosen ones encounter numerous challenges is profoundly strategic. It prepares them for a greater purpose. Like an athlete enduring rigorous training to compete at the highest level, believers undergo spiritual and emotional trials to ready themselves for significant roles in God's plan. Think about a craftsman carefully shaping a tool. Each strike is calculated, designed not just to alter, but to improve, ensuring the tool is fit for a specific task. Similarly, our challenges are often God's way of crafting us into instruments, fit for His divine purposes. Take the biblical story of Esther, a young Jewish girl taken from her home and placed in a foreign royal court, faced with life-threatening risks. Through these trials, Esther was not merely surviving, she was being prepared. When the crucial moment came, her courage and wisdom saved her people from destruction. Her trials were not random hardships, but preparation for her pivotal role in God's story of redemption. Now, let's consider a modern example. Michael, a community leader who once struggled with public speaking due to severe anxiety. The challenges he faced were not mild. They were intense, often leaving him doubting his calling. However, through each anxious moment and every small victory over his fears, Michael was being prepared. Today, he speaks to hundreds, advocating for mental health awareness and support, using his past struggles to connect and empathize deeply with his audience. This preparation phase is crucial. It's not merely about enduring trials, but understanding that these trials have a purpose. They equip us with unique skills, insights, and the resilience needed to fulfill roles that perhaps only we can fill within the grand tapestry of God's plan. So, as you face your trials, remember that each challenge might be a stepping stone to something greater. Each obstacle is potentially a training ground, honing your abilities, deepening your faith, and preparing you for a future where you can make a significant impact. These preparations are not always clear in the moment, and often their purpose becomes evident only in hindsight. However, the assurance that God is at work, shaping our lives for greater deeds, can transform our perspective on suffering from one of despair to one of hope and anticipation for what is to come. Reason 6. Why God's chosen ones endure so much is to encourage others. Our personal victories over trials don't just transform us. They serve as beacons of hope and strength to those around us. Each time we overcome, we're not merely advancing in our spiritual journey, but we are also lighting the path for others to follow. When we share how we've overcome obstacles, it does more than recount our struggles. It broadcasts a message of hope. It tells others, if they could get through it, so can I. It transforms personal testimony into a communal source of inspiration. This ripple effect can reach far beyond our own immediate circles, influencing countless lives. Consider the story of Nathan, who battled and overcame addiction. Nathan's journey was tough, marked by setbacks that often left him feeling hopeless. However, through faith, relentless support from his community, and his unyielding determination, Nathan eventually reclaimed his life from addiction's grip. Today, Nathan shares his story openly, not just in his community, but through various social media platforms, reaching out to those who struggle with similar battles. His story has become a powerful tool, not only helping others to find hope and resources for their own fights, but also removing the stigma around discussing addiction in public forums. Nathan's transformation shows us that our greatest trials can lead to our most impactful testimonies. His willingness to share his story isn't just about his victory. It's about empowering others with the belief that they, too, can overcome. His story encourages others to seek help, to fight their battles, and to know they aren't alone in their struggles. As you face your own trials, consider how your journey might inspire others. Think of how your story can be a source of strength for someone else who is still in the thick of their battle. Every challenge you overcome could be the very story that someone else needs to hear to keep going, to not give up, to hold on to faith. Remember, our lives are interconnected in ways we often can't see. Your perseverance through trials is not just about you. It's about all those who will find courage and hope through your journey. You are a living testament to the power of faith and the strength that comes from not just enduring, but thriving through adversity. Another compelling reason why God's chosen ones face numerous trials is to refine their gifts. Much like a skilled artisan honors a raw gem into a sparkling jewel, our Heavenly Father uses our challenges to enhance and perfect the gifts He has bestowed upon us. Each trial, each difficulty serves to sharpen our abilities, making them more effective for our mission and His glory. Gifts given by God, whether they be in leadership, compassion, teaching, or myriad others, often require a context in which they can be developed to their full potential. It's through trials that these gifts are tested and strengthened, much like gold is refined through fire. Consider the story of Lydia, a gifted musician whose talents brought comfort and joy to many. However, Lydia's journey wasn't without its own set of trials. After a severe hand injury, Lydia faced the possibility of never playing the piano again. During her recovery, Lydia struggled not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Yet, it was during this challenging time that Lydia's gift was refined. As she adapted to her limitations, Lydia discovered new ways to create music and to inspire others, even teaching others to find their unique musical voice despite physical constraints. Lydia's story is a testament to how our gifts, when challenged by hardships, can evolve in ways we never anticipated. Her ability to inspire and teach music once confined to performances, now extended into mentoring, reaching people in a deeper, more personal way. Her trial pushed her to explore and expand her gift, using it not just to perform, but to empower. As we navigate our own trials, let us view them as opportunities to refine our gifts. Each challenge is a chance to ask ourselves, how can this improve my ability to serve? How can this make my gift even more aligned with God's purpose? By embracing our trials as opportunities for growth, we not only overcome them, but emerge with enhanced skills and a greater capacity to impact the world around us. Your trials might be tough, but remember, they are also tools. Tools that God uses to sculpt your abilities, ensuring that your gifts are not merely maintained, but magnified. So, the next time you face a trial, consider how it might be refining the very gifts that define your purpose. The eighth profound reason why God's chosen ones endure so much is to strengthen their testimony. In the tapestry of faith, every thread of our personal story contributes to a larger picture of divine grace and power. When we share our struggles and the victories that follow, our stories resonate not just as narratives of personal endurance, but as powerful testimonies to God's faithfulness and strength. A testimony is not just a story told, it's a witness given. It serves as a beacon of hope and a tangible sign of God's intervention in our lives. By sharing these stories, we don't merely recount our history, we proclaim God's presence and power. This proclamation has the incredible ability to inspire faith and ignite change in the hearts of those who hear it. Consider the case of Simon, a businessman whose life was upended by a financial crisis. The collapse was sudden and devastating. Yet, through this valley of shadows, Simon experienced a profound spiritual renewal. His faith, once a peripheral part of his life, became his cornerstone. When Simon emerged from this crisis, he did so not only as a survivor, but as a witness to God's provision and guidance. His testimony of overcoming through faith has since encouraged many in his community who face their own crises, showing them that restoration and redemption are within reach. This encouragement is vital. It transforms our perception of trials. Instead of viewing them solely as hurdles, we can see them as opportunities to forge a testimony that will uplift and inspire others. Every challenge you overcome enriches your testimony, equipping you with stories that can lead others to explore faith, seek God, and find hope. So, let your life be an open book. Let the chapters filled with trials also narrate the triumphs of faith that followed. Encourage others through your testimony, using it as a tool for evangelism. Remember, your story could be the key that unlocks faith in someone else's heart. It could provide the courage they need to step out of the shadows and into the light. The ninth reason why God's chosen ones endure significant challenges is to teach patience and endurance. These virtues are not merely desirable qualities. They are essential for a deep and resilient faith that can withstand the tests of time and trial. In Scripture, the value of patience is profoundly celebrated. Hebrews 12:1 urges us, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." This passage isn't just about running, it's about enduring. It teaches us that the path of faith is a marathon, not a sprint, and mastering patience is key to finishing well. Patience and endurance are developed in the crucible of waiting and withstanding. They grow when our immediate circumstances challenge us, and yet we choose to remain steadfast, trusting in God's timing and faithfulness. These traits enable us to navigate long seasons of uncertainty or adversity without losing hope or faith. Reflect for a moment on your own life. Think about a time when you faced a trial that seemed to stretch on indefinitely. How did you respond? How has your capacity to endure grown through these experiences? Let's consider the story of Anna, a teacher who applied for numerous jobs after graduating, facing rejection after rejection. With each passing month, her optimism waned, but her resolve did not. Anna continued to apply, improve her skills, and seek guidance through prayer. Over time, her patience bore fruit. When she finally received a job offer, it was better than any position she had applied for initially. This experience taught her the true meaning of patience and the strength that comes from enduring without losing hope. This journey of learning patience and endurance is crucial. It's not just about waiting, it's about how we wait and who we become in the process. These trials sculpt us into individuals who can face the winds of adversity without faltering, grounded firmly in faith. So, as we face the trials that inevitably touch our lives, let's embrace them as opportunities to strengthen our patience and endurance. Let these virtues bloom fully in our lives, knowing that each moment of perseverance is a step toward a more steadfast faith. The final reason why God's chosen ones go through so much is to fulfill His sovereign plan. This overarching purpose aligns every trial and triumph, not just to the arc of our individual stories, but to the grand narrative of God's eternal plan. Understanding this can transform our perspective, helping us to see our struggles not as random misfortunes, but as integral pieces of a divine puzzle. The mystery and beauty of God's plan are profound. Often, it's not until we look back on our lives that we begin to see how intricately our paths have been woven. Each thread of hardship is intertwined with strands of grace, creating a tapestry that reveals God's hand at work. Even when the pattern seems unclear, we can trust that each piece has its purpose. This trust is underpinned by promises like the one found in Jeremiah 29:11, where God declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This assurance is not just comforting, it's foundational. It reminds us that no matter how chaotic or challenging things may appear, God has a plan, and it is inherently good. Consider the biblical figure, Joseph. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and unjustly imprisoned, Joseph faced a series of trials that seemed both cruel and senseless. However, each of these trials was a step towards a greater purpose, saving nations from famine and restoring his family. In Genesis 50:20, Joseph reflects, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph's story exemplifies how our individual trials are often part of a much larger plan we might not yet understand. As we encounter our own difficulties, it's crucial to hold on to this perspective. Understanding that we are part of a larger story can give us the strength to endure and the patience to wait on God's timing. It reassures us that there is meaning in the madness and a purpose in the pain. So, let us walk through our trials with this assurance. Let us embrace each challenge, not with resignation, but with anticipation, knowing that we are contributing to a divine legacy that will outlast our troubles and testify to a wisdom far greater than our own. As we conclude today's exploration into the profound reasons why God's chosen ones go through so much, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've shared. From building our faith and displaying God's glory to shaping our character and fulfilling His sovereign plan, each reason we've discussed today serves as a reminder that our trials are not without purpose. They are intricately designed, divinely appointed, and rich with potential to transform us and those around us. I encourage you to look back on the challenges you've faced with a new perspective. See them not as mere obstacles, but as opportunities to grow, to inspire, and to contribute to a story much larger than ourselves. Remember, the trials you endure today are preparing you for a future only God can see, one that is filled with hope and promise. If today's message resonated with you, if it brought you comfort or a new understanding, I invite you to share this video. You never know how your act of sharing could be the very thing someone needs to hear to find strength in their moment of trial. Let's spread this message of hope and purpose far and wide. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights and encouragement. We are here to support each other, to grow together in faith, and to navigate the challenges of life with a firm foundation in God's eternal promises. Finally, I urge you to comment below. Share your own experiences with trials and how you've seen God work through them. Your story could be the key that unlocks faith and resilience in someone else's life. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, you are not alone in your struggles. We are all part of God's great plan, chosen and equipped to face our trials with courage and faith. Until next time, keep trusting, keep believing, and keep growing in God's unfailing love.